when our clients feel amazing. In fact, I had the great pleasure last night of being down at our Westchester location, and a client came in. She was celebrating her 2-month anniversary with us, and she had lost 20 pounds. I mean, she was to the moon about her clothes and her body, and she couldn't wait to actually put a bathing suit on and feel amazing in it in the summer. And then shortly after she came in, another client came in who's been with us a month, and she's like, the scale has not budged, and I feel really frustrated. Now, both cases happen all the time. There are so many elements to going into what's working, what's not working, and how hard we're working on the plan that we're given. So, what I wanted to do is dive into 4 ways for you to tell how your body is really doing. And these are really important to pay attention to because while the scale can be deceptive, and that's why we use pictures and scans and measurements and so many other ways to really keep track of what's going on with your health and your body, these 4 things for me have been incredibly poignant in helping me to know when I'm starting to veer off track. Now, with that, well, I will say, and I'm going to give this a disclaimer because some people are going to be like, seriously, Corey Beth? So just sit tight for a second. Mike and I were like in the bathroom 2 nights ago, getting ready. And I was like, gosh, I'm not totally feeling like myself. I kind of want to do a self-experimentation. My back had gotten thrown out about a week and a half ago. I had a cold before that. And through those 2-3 weeks, I ate a bagel. I ate a slice of pizza with the kids. I had something else that I was just not normally would have. And I was like, I'm just starting to I feel a little bit here and a little bit there. And to be honest with you, the last time that happened to me, I remember going to the gym, stepping on the scale because we don't have a scale in our house. And I was up 7 pounds and I posted about it. And a lot of clients were like, thank you so much for posting about that, and it was an opportunity for me to recognize where I'd gotten to and to turn myself back around. Now, this time I was expecting the same thing. I'm like, it's probably the same thing, right? Sick, back, all these things. Haven't been able to work out for 2 weeks. I'm probably up about 7 pounds. Now, much to my dismay, I got to the gym last night and I stepped on the scale and it was up 1 pound. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Do you see how deceptive the scale can be? I totally felt like it was that higher number, but it was a lower number. Now, the reason I'm sharing this story with you and whether or not you're following me or rolling your eyes because you're like, oh, but Corey Beth, you always look the same. No, there are actually 4 measures within your body that are going to help you to tell better than the scale where you're headed. And these 4 B's, I just came up with these and I love them because they're totally right on point, really are great things to pay attention to. So number 1, your bloat area. Now, some people refer to this as your fupa, your kangaroo pouch, the apron. I've heard it called a million different things, but it's that bloating area. And that's one of the first things to pay attention to because when we have inflammation in our body, it's typically one of the first places you'll notice it. Perhaps for you, it's also your face, but typically that bloating area just below your belly button, right where your pants are, you're like, oh my gosh, and you look sideways, you're like, that's bigger. Pay attention to that because as you're following the program, your weight may not initially be changing on the scale. It will catch up as long as you're doing the right thing. But that bloating area, that bloated area, it's going to be one of your best indicators as far as did that food inflame me or did that food not inflame me? People typically feel bloat after sugar, white wheat, white sugar, and sometimes alcohol. So pay attention to that. That's your first of your 4 B's. And really, really important to pay attention to. That's what I noticed first in myself, by the way. All of a sudden I was bloated, then I was bloated, then I was bloated. And I'm like, see, I'm getting off track. And I'll only let myself get to a certain point. For me, it's 7 pounds. And as soon as I hit that, I'm like, time to turn stuff around. The second is your brain. Now, what I mean by this is you're like, oh, can I really measure my brain? There is imaging and stuff that we can go in. We can look at neurons and it's really fascinating. Dr. Caroline Leaf does really great research on that. But what we can measure, just self-rating, is your focus, your clarity, and your energy. So how focused are you able to be? What is your energy level like? And how clearly can you think? If you're foggy and you're like, gosh, I'm just really tired, that's an indicator that your body should not feel that way. And typically what you are putting in the hole in your face, that's your mouth, by the way, is impacting the ability of your brain to think clearly. Quick little tidbit on this, knowing that I was going to go in and weigh myself and do my scan and do all these things yesterday to do this whole experiment on myself, which kind of flopped because I was like, well, a pound doesn't really make a big difference for anyone. No one in this community is going to care about me losing or gaining a pound. I mean, let's just be real. Took the kids to a maple sugar syrup farm, had a great class trip. and they had donuts. And it was one of those moments where it was like, nah, nah, yeah, nah, yeah. And I knew it would like destroy my stomach. But what I forgot about is the fact that it would totally impact my brain. So I took a quarter of, a little donut, and I was like, totally not worth it. Because all of a sudden I'm like, holy cow. You have no idea how good your body is designed to feel until you feel good. And when you go back to feeling bad, you're like, oh my gosh, I can never live like this. But when you lived there in feeling bad, you normalized it, right? It was just like, oh yeah, it's just how I feel. I'm just bloated all the time. That's not normal, BT dubs. So let's go back to the brain. All of a sudden we're driving home. I'm like, damn it. My brain was cloudy. I felt foggy. I didn't feel like I had that clarity and crispness of thinking that I love feeling and having. And so much of that has to do with the food that we eat. So before you even see anything on the scale, if you eat something and your brain gets kind of cloudy, that is a big red flag. B, number 2, that you really need to pay attention to what's going on. It's not something that's good. So a sugar donut, apple cider donut, whatever the heck it was, not a good choice. Especially not for the first thing I was eating in the day. That's a really great way to like totally jack up your blood sugar and like, do that regularly. You end up with diabetes type 2, by the way. But anyway, back to the next piece and right back on track after that. Tons of water, had yogurt, nuts, all the things. 3, the third B, it's your body. Now, this is how your clothes are fitting. So the client that came in was like, I lost 20 pounds. My clothes fit totally differently. In fact, I got another client that texted it last night. She was like, I tried on a bathing suit for the first time. Like, yes, and super cool. I know this client from high school, actually. She's a year ahead of me. And I was like, can I be the first to tell you that you look better now than you did in high school? She was like, yes. And she does. She totally does. But your body, pay attention to your body and how your clothes fit. That's incredibly important too. I mean, I'm not going to go into any more depth, but does your bra kind of create like a little hangover in the back? Do your pants create a little bit of a lip of your belly? Does your underwear hug the bottom of your butt a little bit tighter than you like? Do your leggings on your ankles feel a little bit more snug than you like? I mean, all these things are real things. How are your clothes, your normal clothes, fitting your body? That's your third B to really pay attention to, because if they start to get snug, which is the other thing I was noticing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got like a little bit of stuff going on in the back. 2 weeks of no workouts. Yeah, you're not going to lose all your results. That's ridiculous, but I do feel a difference, and you should too. You don't know how good your body's designed to feel until you feel amazing. Then you never want to go back. All right, B number 4, it's my favorite thing to talk about, your bowel movements, your BMs. So this is honestly one of the quickest ways to pay attention to what is going on inside your body, how your food is impacting your body. And that is when you have a bowel movement, is it solid and finished and complete? Or is it like halfway done and you're like, is the other half coming? I don't know. The consistency of it, right? When it's really watery, typically I find that people are either eating things that are upsetting their stomach, or they're incredibly stressed or anxious. And that actually can create a very like watery bowel movement. When people deal with frustration or anger, you guys didn't know this stuff, you can actually get a very hard or larger bowel movement because like your body tenses and you hold on to that because like you're angry. So our emotions have so much to do with our bowels, which is insane, but it's true. It's fact. And so paying attention to what your bowel movement, the consistency of it, the frequency of it, the size of it, the length of it, the color of it, right? All of those things are incredibly important, because you eat a quarter of an apple cider donut, that's going to mess up your poop schedule. I'm just being honest. Whereas if you're eating anti-inflammatory, lower sugar, lower white wheat foods, you have like a clean, solid, regular, same time of day bowel movement. And again, people are like, ew, Mike too. He's like, do you seriously have to talk about this all the time? I'm like, everybody does it. Everybody does it. And everybody knows how good it feels to actually do it and have like a clean, solid, finished daily poo. Of course, we have to include that in these 4 Bs. So to recap this out, guys, it's really important to track and measure your progress when you're being consistent. I'm just going to sit there for a second, right? Because you cannot continue to keep your old habits and be like, why is my body not changing? I'll tell you why your body's not changing. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. So the 4 Bs, and I say that out of love, is your bloat area, your brain, clear, your body, how your clothes fit, and your bowel movements. Those 4 Bs are great indicators to show you if you are on track and doing what you're supposed to be doing, or you're starting to get off track. Pay attention to those things. I promise it's going to reveal so much data to you that you can be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize when I have milk in my coffee, my bowel movement is different. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Or when I have stevia instead of sugar, because it's better for you, I actually do get bloated. Okay, sugar, alcohol upsets and inflames your intestines. It is different for everybody. We're all different. There is no one size fits all, which is why we love having conversations with you individually about your nutrition and what's going on. But pay attention to the 4 B's. It's going to reveal a lot to you about your health and how it impacts your overall end results. All right. Let me know what you learned in the comments below. It's kind of long, but hope that really helped you. I hope it hits home for some of you, and it's time to get back on track. I'm going to head over into my stories and actually share about, continued progress and stuff like that, because my back is almost all the way better. I'm ready to get back in the gym, and it doesn't have to be 100%. We can do another video on that. I don't want to keep you any longer here, but I don't have to be 100% better. I can still go in and do a lot of other exercises, a lot. So when we're injured, we don't avoid. If you're really injured, okay, long story, but excited to hop back in there tomorrow. So sending you guys love, the 4 B's. Have an amazing day. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.